Greetings, beautiful people. My name is Simon Javan Okelo, and I am the CEO and founder of Madaraka Festival, and I'm also the host of the Madaraka Festival Podcast. Today, we are recording live from One Vibe Africa in Kisumu, Kenya, in Manyata, and I am really honored to be here with Prophet Gwada Ogot, who is one of the most accomplished leaders when it comes to our history as Luo people, but also as African people. He has a lot of knowledge and he has a lot of content. But also during my research on today's episode, I learned that you vied for president of Kenya. And one of the things that you are advocating for was legalization of marijuana, which is something that I'm also passionate about, especially because I was a reggae DJ for a long time. Then I moved to the US and I found myself living in Seattle, Washington, which was also the first place in America to legalize marijuana. So we have a lot in common, but I want you to take a moment and just add anything to the introduction, that you'd like to share before we start our conversation.
Thank you. Well, first I would like to say thank you very much for the welcome.
Of course.
Thank you very much for the generous introduction.
Of course.
I would like to repeat that the name I use publicly is Gwada Ogot, but the spiritual cognonym that I use in relation to my spiritual world is Enoch Ra.
Enoch Ra.
I am also an author and I write my books under the name Enoch Ra. Enoch derives from a Luo phrase that means En-Och, giminyalo o, a warmth of fire. Enoch. I actually specialize in generating new concepts and writing about African history, about new subjects. I have been behind the legalization of marijuana effort in Kenya. I started in 2015. I've been pushing it through. I've taken it to parliament variously. And that's just one of my passions.
Right.
And I am happy to be here and happy to have met you.
Thank you. Me too. I feel really privileged.
Yes.
But now I want us to take a journey through your life a little bit. I want us to begin from the place where you grew up, where you were born and raised.
Yes.
Paint for us a picture of what the colors were, the smells of the food, and even the sounds that you are listening to growing up, and also how those days shaped who you are today.
I was born in Kisumu, just near the town hall.
Oh.
At a clinic just next to the town hall.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
I have spent a lot of my life in Kisumu, but I also spent a lot of time in Kakamega. I went to school a lot in Kakamega from 1 to 6.
Okay.
And before that in primary school also in Kakamega.
Okay.
So my Kisumu has been my residential area, but most of my academic pursuits have been outside Kisumu.
Okay.
But this remains home.
Right.
In Kisumu, I have grown up between Tomboya and Nyalenda.
Okay.
Nyalenda is our home there.
Okay.
But I also spent a lot of time in Tomboya.
Okay.
That really gives a bit of peek into where I was born and where I lived.
Yeah.
I've been an ardent footballer. I played soccer for Green Commandos of Kakamega. I played soccer for Mwangaza Football Club.
Okay.
Black Mamba Football Club.
Okay.
And Tusker FC when it was still called Kenya Breweries.
Okay.
I am also the founder of Kisumu Rugby Football Club. I have been behind the sprouting of rugby in Kisumu. Not the first, but I started Kisumu Rugby Football Club in 1991.
Okay.
And it remains a successful club to date.
Yeah.
I played for it. I played rugby for nondescripts.
Yeah.
And select sides.
Yeah.
So I've been an ardent sportsman.
Wow.
That has influenced my life a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also come from a very musical family.
Okay.
A lot of my family members are musicians.
Yeah.
And sportsmen.
Yeah.
So that really gives a peek.
Yeah.
My life has been influenced a lot by our pursuit for justice, humanity, respect for diversity, truth, and spiritualism. Yes, spiritualism plays a very deep part of my life. I also have the power to see, not by mine, but by the Almighty. One of my books, which is 1,000 pages, which I showed you yesterday, Luo Great Light of Nations, which I wrote in 2018-17, is had predictions that are now working, coming true. It had predicted the coming of coronal diseases, which has manifested. It had predicted I had predicted the coming grasshopper invasion, which subsequently came, locust invasion. I had also predicted the fall of the dynasties in politics in Kenya, the end of the old dynasties, and likely the emergence of new ones, and many other things. A skill-based education system, what they're now calling CBC. New housing project that would come, new currency designs that would come, moratorium on wildlife culling or killing of wild animals for 7 years. So a lot of things that you're seeing being done by government today directly derive from that book.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I saw the book yesterday and it was like the Bible.
Yes.
It's a big book.
Yes.
Yeah. How long did it take you to work on it?
About 4 years.
4 years.
Of exclusion from social life. No interactions. Sitting back and writing. In seclusion. Yes, about 4 years.
Wow.
It was spiritually motivated. That's why it is full of predictions. That is why it has very new explanations about the world and global history. And the book also asserts that the true Jews, the true people of the Bible, are the Luo, and it's explained by translations about the names of God, and by the count of where we live. One, our people here, the symbol of our existence here is the letter O. That's why all our names begin with O. Otieno, Okelo, Omondi, Ogot, Osama, Osamba, and on and on. It is not for nothing, it is symbolic. O is the beginning of the count. You start from 0, then you go to 1. So O, the numerical value of O is 0, which means beginning point, the source. And then as you go up the hill, you get the Abaluya. Their alphanumeric symbol is A, with a numeric value of 1. A. Abaluya, Abanyore, Abesuha, Abetaho, Abamarama, and then of course in their names, Andambi, Amuai, Asiachi, and on and on. Numerical value 1. When you get to the border with Uganda, there are no more Abaz or A. It is B. Baganda, Basoga, Bagwere, Bairu, Banyoro. Numerical value 2. B. When you get to the Congo, the symbolic letter is C. Numeric value 3. So you start getting everything Chi, Chisekedi, Chiloba, Chi, as you go. So what I'm saying is that humanity is organized around a matrix that follows the axis of light. And you know that where we are by the lake, all life begins from fresh water. And that is where the sun also sets and rises each day, by the lake. So that is why historically we were called the people of the fireplace. Well, that is why our skins are very black, because the blackest thing in the universe is the sun, but it provides the brightest light. That is why the charcoal in your house is black, but it brings out the light. Black is the color of light. That is why when you go to the university and you graduate, you're given a black gown, and you're given a black headboard. And that's why the Bible is black. And that's why you write in black as the color of official writing. Because black is the color of heat and the color of light. And the people who personify that light with their blackness are the Luo, because they're the people who come from the fireplace where there is fresh water and where the sun rises each and every morning.
Wow.
That is why we are called Ochol or Dichol, which it's not just a symbol of O and Chol. Chol is the basis of the word school, Cholo, to initiate.
Right, to birth.
To rebirth or to birth afresh, to initiate. Yes, Cholo.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Wow. So being a Luo is a privilege.
Well, I wouldn't say a privilege, but a responsibility.
A responsibility.
Yes.
So one of the things you say as we are beginning our conversation is that a lot of your life revolves around spiritualism.
Yes.
And many of us, Luos included, but also humanity in general, we deal with a lot of pressures in life. We have bills to pay. We have our health to take care of. We have our mental health to take care of. But our spiritualism is not something that we have freedom around. We are dependent on our pastors and bishops and imams and and so on and so forth. But these are people who are also human. We've seen so many cases of pastors being caught with other people's wives, pastors being caught in corruption cases. How have you been able to cultivate spiritualism in a way that now you're able to prophesize things and these things come to pass?
Spiritualism is not something that you call upon yourself. It is bestowed upon you.
It's bestowed upon
you. Yes. That is why you hear those who are called. Which in Luo you say Oluom. And that's why you get the English word alumni, Luom. The people who are called. So it comes upon you. And you see, right now you're talking of pastors. But in the old, if we were going back to the count of time, you would be talking of prophets. You see, we are in the season of the apostles and the pastors, because we are ending the season of the New Testament. And we are going back to the season of the Old Testament. Yes. So, spiritualism doesn't make you perfect. It just means that you become a vessel of God that He wants to use for His own specific purposes. If you read the Bible, you will find King David had a roving eye and almost took somebody's wife, isn't it? You'll find King Solomon had a harem of women. But that's the fact that God had chosen to use them makes them stronger, not perfect. We cannot be perfect. We cannot be perfect, but we must pursue perfection. Yes.
Why do we need to pursue perfection?
We need to pursue perfection because life is an equation. 1 + 1 is 2. And what you put in is what comes out. So effort means that the reward for what you put in, there'll be a reward and a return. So you must put in effort. Yes. God only helps those who help themselves. Yes.
I love it. Yes. I want us to talk about a few things. First, I want us to talk about marijuana.
Yes.
It's maybe a bit of its origin and history, and also scientific value to the human body.
Yes.
And why it's something that people need to have access to without being afraid of being jailed, especially in Kenya for 10 years if you're found with a split. The origin of the logic of marijuana, or the medicinal logic of marijuana, started from here. Here in Kisumu.
Here along the Nile Valley, around us here.
Right.
From the word jaga. You see, we call it yap, which means medicine.
Yes.
The Luyas call it omsara, which means medicine. Now, those are the two communities that historically, or the two oldest communities that are found to call it yap, or to call it medicine, which means they knew the medicinal value. That's why they called it that. That is number one. Number two, the popular name for marijuana in the West is called ganja. Ganja is simply an anagram. An anagram means a word that has been turned upside down. It derives from the word njaga, It started here as Njaga.
Yeah.
By the time it got to the west, it was Ganja,
Yeah.
upside down.
Yeah. They could not say Njaga.
They changed it. You see, when you have a communication process, by the time it hits the third or the fourth, fifth person, it may have tweaked a bit,
Yes.
but it remains the same thing.
Yeah.
So that is based on the name, the medicinal value and the name.
Yeah.
Number 3, the word marijuana.
Yeah.
It comes from the Luo phrase marijuana. Mariwa is a leaf.
Yeah.
Marijuana is my pure leaf.
Yeah.
And mariwa is that brings together.
Yeah.
All that logic that pertains to cannabis
Yeah.
is Luo or Nilotic
Yeah.
in origin.
Yeah.
Now, these two groups that I'm telling you that I'm using, that I'll use a lot as examples, have certain distinctions. The Luo and the Luya are their names are defined by a phrase called Lu, which means luminaries, that which shines. The called ones, Luomo, Lu, the followers of light. And I go back again to the origin of the light when I say that even the Holy Bible, the authorship of the Holy Bible, is Luo in origin. That is why when you have the name Yahweh, it derives from the Luo phrase Yahweh, because the Bible is about light and the unveiling of light. The Bible starts with light and ends with the return of the morning light. Unveil the light. Then 2, you have the name Elohim, which also derives from the Luo phrase Elo Togi Imo. Elohim means one thing. Then you have another name for God, which is El, which simply means in Luo again, unveil. And when you read the Holy Bible in the book of Zephaniah 3:9, you find that line says that in those days there shall return the pure language for praising the Lord. Now that pure language, the original pure language that named all the rivers, lakes, oceans, and landmarks of the world and peoples, is Luo. That is the baptismal language of the world. That is the world's first language for scientific and liturgical instruction. That is why all these names I can translate to you only using the Luo language and no other language. They have no meaning in English, but they have meaning in Luo. They have no meaning in French, neither do they have any meaning in Spanish or German or Russian or Yoruba, but they have full, complete and contextual meaning in Luo. That is why I can say that Solomon derives from the Luo phrase Solomon, solo, to mobilize, mon, women. And Solomon had over 1,000 or nearly over 700 women.
Thank you all for joining us for today's episode of the Madaraka Festival Podcast. I am having an incredible conversation with Prophet
Enoch Ra or Gwada Ogot.
Gwada Ogot.
Yeah.
We've talked about his upbringing in Kisumu and how that influences who he is today. But we've also talked about the impact of the Luo language, and we are continuing with that conversation. One of the things that fascinate me is that I have so many Rastafarian friends. I was a reggae DJ here in Kisumu and in Kenya for a while. Then, as you know, I lived in the US for about 15 years. And a lot of my Rastafarian friends totally believe that Jesus was black. And in fact, they say El Selassie was a reincarnation of Jesus. What are your perspectives on this?
Okay, one, the distinction about the Christ.
Yeah,
I want to speak about the Christ.
right.
What does the Christ mean? The word Christ agglutinates from 3 phrases or 3 morphemes. One is CH, which depicts direction chi, or something that illuminates, that shines. Hence chia, handsome and glorified. Then there is res, reso, which means after birth, the first encounter with light. And then there is st, which I am yet to break down the complete meaning. That is the agglutination of the word Christ. The person who is given or who is bestowed the glory of the Christ has certain distinctions. One, he is the first to encounter a particular light. And that is why whoever it is the person who is said to come with answers and solutions. He is given what the Bible says, extra manna from heaven. Extra manna from heaven is extra intellect. Because the Bible is all about knowledge.
Right.
And the greatest gift that God gives you is about knowledge. In other words, the vision to see ahead. That's why the people who are in the Bible are called the seers. Those who see. Those who see far. The Bible also is divided into two books. The Old Testament, which represents the season of sunlight, brightness, glory, power, kingship, laws are being written, and there's all power. The New Testament is the season of darkness. It is the season of moonlight. You are weaker. So where you would have said turn the other cheek, where you would have said a tooth for a tooth, an eye for an eye, under the season of darkness or season of moonlight, you say turn the other cheek because you are weak.
Right.
So the Bible is actually a representation of light. Two contexts of light. Sunlight for the day, moonlight for the night. That is why in the season of sunlight, we have prophets in the Old Testament. And when the season of sunlight has gone, you now have apostles in the Old Testament. But all of them are simply echoing or continuing the vision and the message of the Old Testament, albeit in a toned down manner, because you find that in the New Testament, the casualties are many. John meets his fate in a prison. I think his eyes are gouged out. Stephen is beheaded. And on continuously. Why? Because that is the season of moonlight when we are completely weak.
Right.
Now that gives you an understanding that you must know that we are, our physical bodies and our bodies are simply agencies of light. Our entire life is determined by light and its context. In the morning, when I wake up, or at about 3 a.m., when the light is about to return, the first instinct on my body is I get a genital erection. It is the light that has come. Then after that, the next thing that happens is that I wake up and I stand erect. Because the light is back, I have to get up. So I stand up my whole body first. After this, the genitals, the next thing that stands up is you stand up and get out of bed. The first thing you relate with is water. You get out of bed, you're looking for water for ablution. Then you're going, and you will stay upright and engaging until 6 p.m. or 7. Then your speed will slow down. You will assume you're tired, but the only reason why you're tired is because the light is also going away.
Right.
So you start tiring because the light is going away, and that is your source of energy. So by the time the light completely goes away at 11:30, your eyes also close because the light has gone. And then you fall into comatose because the light has gone also.
So you're part of it.
So when the light returns at 3, 4 a.m., you're up again. And the instrument of the day is the chair. Because you're strong, you're sitting, you're in power. Jacom. The instrument of the night is the bed. You're lying flat because you're weak. You're helpless. You're comatose. One is also male, the day, and the night is female. Night is female. The day is day. The night is strong. The day is the day is strong and the light is strong. The night is completely different. The power of the night belongs to woman. Yes. And honor. So these things have a more philosophical understanding than the way they appear to be. So that's why I was saying earlier that now we are in the season, we are closing the age of moonlight. We are now on the brink of, you see the heat, the continuous heat rises that have been going on since 2012. You may know that between 2014 and now, the world has recorded the hottest temperatures in recorded history. In recorded history, that's thousands of years. This is amongst the hottest. Which means we are moving back to the season of the Old Testament. We are moving back to the season of solar power. And that's where we are headed. And like I told you, the blackest thing in the universe is the sun. But it produces the brightest light. And the people who personify that blackness are the people who live around the base of the water.
Right.
Now, where I say water and sunshine, water is positive, sunshine is positive energy. Water is negative energy. Just like in a car battery, you have positive charge, negative charge. But when there's two strike together, what do you get? Energy and motion. Yes. That's what it means, yes.
Wow. Well, so when you look at the history of African people
Yes.
In the world,
Yes.
one of the most significant impacts to our history, and even now we are still impacted by slavery.
Yes.
We're impacted by colonization.
Yes.
And one of the things I am really passionate about and concerned about is the return of black people from all these places that they were taken to the motherland. I remember during the pandemic, I used to have a series, a daily devotion, actually, where every morning from 6 to 7, I was hosting a group of people virtually, and we would have an African proverb and discuss what it means. And people from, Afro-Mexicans, Afro-Brazilians, people from all over the world would join this conversation. Even South Africa, Kenya. I was in the US, but every day I hosted multiple people. And it was very fascinating how African proverbs could bring so many different people together. But also, I feel that Africa has the power to bring people back together. Whenever there is a disaster, for example, now that Trump is back in the office, people are saying, oh, I need to move. One of the places where people want to move to is Africa, But really, a lot of Black Americans, have a desire to come back home. But
where is home? If I may ask.
Yeah.
Which home?
Well, that's a really good question, because when you speak about Black Americans, even like 2-3 days ago, over 500 of them became Ghanaian citizens. So a lot of Black Americans believe that their ancestral home is Ghana, maybe Nigeria, the West Coast, So for me, I can just say home is Africa. But if you want to say exactly where home is, then you speak about the source of the light, according to the lessons I'm learning today, which is the shores of Lake Victoria.
When you want to get the source of life, fresh water. Fresh water is top quality water. Water is the ointment of the body. That is why when you shower, you feel fresh and strong. That is the medicine of the body. That is, water washes the spirit. That is the essence of water. Fresh water is domesticated water. It is water that you can wash with. It is water that you can shower with. It is water that you can cook with. It is opposed to saline or ocean water, which is industrial water. That is not top quality water. That is second grade water. But ours is first grade. That's why it's called fresh water. And you may also then begin to see the context of what I was telling you. Where we live here around Africa is called the Great Lakes region. This is where there is Lake Victoria, Lake Kyoga, Albert, all those lakes, the Great Lakes region, Lake Tanganyika, and they have a distinction. They fall along within the tropics, and the tropics is the path of light. So those two things are not disconnected. And these are the people, these groups, the 10 countries that form around the Great Lakes of Africa are also the 10 countries with the most virile people in the world, because the sun is the source of male or virility. 1 hour, according to a university, a research by Graz University, exposure to the sunlight for an hour, it raises your libido by 69%.
Is that right?
Yes, and the people, you can imagine now, these people do not just have it for an hour, they live permanently under this heat, tropical heat. That's why you find polygamy is very intense in these regions. That's why you find HIV is very intense in these regions. It's because the virility is way higher than that of other places. The sun is the reason. Yes.
Incredible.
Yes.
So do you believe that African Americans should repatriate to Africa, or should they just stay where they are?
One, I think they should develop linkages. There's those who wish to move can move. But once you have moved and created a home, You see, America was founded by black people.
True.
Yes, that is home also. And when a big boy, in our context of life in this region, when you mature, you go and go your dollar, you go and create your own home wherever you wish.
Right.
But that does not mean that you forget your heritage.
Right.
Yes, so the whole world is our home.
Right.
The entire universe is our home.
Right.
What we need more to develop is to give greater power and significance to our languages,
Right.
our culture,
Right.
our belief systems,
Right.
our values,
Right.
and our virtues.
Right.
But anywhere is home.
Right.
If I can go and get a huge settlement of African people in the US who appreciate, who are conscious about the universe, it is home.
Right.
For those who wish to come, we need to probably resuscitate our festivals, our spiritual days, get back to doing things that we did for ourselves, not things that we have been done or we have been told to do for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm a Luo person or an African living in the US or in Europe somewhere, and I know I'll never come back home,
Yeah.
what are some of the key ideas or practices that you can suggest that I observe or practice in order for me to be grounded in my Africanness?
I think the first thing, the thing that lives, or the only immortal thing that I know in this world is the written word. The written word. It is the only thing that does not die. It lives forever. The first thing would be to write. To write as many books about your culture and your perspectives as you can. Because one of the biggest problems we face is that our libraries are full of foreign books.
Right.
So the software that we are being implanted into, or that's being implanted into us, is essentially Western in origin. We need to fill our libraries with our own writing. We need to fill global libraries with our books. We need to write, first and foremost. The preservation of culture, the preservation of knowledge is through writing.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
We read about great men like Enoch, biblical Enoch. We read about Moses. We read about all these great people, but the only thing that distinguishes them amongst other men is that they wrote glorious books, books whose value remain premium to date. That's why we still refer to the Bible. That's why we still refer to their words, because they wrote it down.
Right.
So we need to write.
Right.
Yes, we need to write and write and write and write. We have no choice in that regard.
Yeah.
And like I told you, O is a source. If you're thirsty, where do you go? To a pot. Isn't that pot round?
Yes.
It is O-shaped. If you're hungry, your food is placed, it is cooked in a pot or a pan, isn't it? It is a symbol of O. When you put it in the fireplace, the fireplace is a O. When you put it on the oven, it is, the burner is O. When you put it on your meko, the burner is O. So we are the source. So the first thing we must do is to encourage our people to write as much as possible. Probably my greatest vision would be to see the day that Africa shall write a book that brings Africa together, that I can get one book and know about Benin, and know about Kenya, and know about Uganda, because all those names their meanings can only be translated in Luo.
Yeah.
I would love to see that, a big book that tells all about us, whether it is encyclopedias that are put into 10 series or 12, but that tells our story as an African people.
Yeah.
We must write.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. So I want us to come back to Kenya for a minute and reflect on when you vied for the presidency of the Republic of Kenya. What motivated you, and why was your platform knowledge? And I also feel that you spoke a lot about God being the catalyst for you vying for
That was in 2017. I intended to, but I did not.
Oh, you did not?
Then subsequently, in the last election, 2022, I was the keynote speaker at the launch of the Roots Party presidential candidate. I was part of the team that went around the whole country. When many people did not realize that marijuana was the central or the mobilizing factor in the last election.
It was?
Yes. Raila used the slogan, "No one can stop reggae." Reggae and marijuana are bread and butter.
True.
Kalonzo came up with a slogan, "Buffalo Soldier." Cut and paste from Bob Marley's Buffalo Soldier, a depiction of reggae.
Right.
Wajakoya was going with the slogan of "Bangi Bangi." It was all about marijuana in the last election. And that was symbolic of what is coming in the future. It will be legalized. The new president of Ghana, what is his first step? Hardly 2 weeks into the presidency, he has already legalized the farming of medicinal marijuana, which is the one that is smoked.
Right.
And many people who criticize marijuana smoking do not know that one of the oldest forms of medicinal dispensation is through smoking. If your child is sick and you smoke marijuana and you blow it on their skin, it clears rashes.
Oh, wow.
Clears rashes. When you go to a rural village here, what do? They cover you. They findo you, isn't it?
Yes.
Or fundo you
Blanket.
with a blanket. But what is inside?
They have a concussion.
Yes.
Yeah.
With steam.
Yes.
And smoke.
Yes.
So that shows you the place of smoke in medical treatment.
Right.
But people cannot explain this. The people who are talking to us about the bans, most of them are actually knowledge consumers, people who have consumed a lot of knowledge that has been generated by more sophisticated scholars. And now they pose with that knowledge as their own. So they purport to know what they don't know. Yes. But now where, like I said, we are moving into the age of sunlight. It is the age of knowledge production. In the future, in the days to come, it will no longer be about your university degree or what you have read. It will be about who has read you and the international property that you have to your name. Yes, intellectual property,
Intellectual property.
Yes.
So, when you think about Kenya and Africa, are you hopeful or are you in despair?
I cannot despair because I'm a child of light. And we know that there will be a resurrection. It must come, and we are at the easterly point where the sun rises every day and returns to sleep. We are the people who guard the sun where it sleeps at night. We guard the sun. We relate with the sun. So we are a people who are not just hopeful, but we are the people who are directly in the mix of that resurrection. When I'm talking about Kenya, the word Kenya, when you read the Bible speaks about the marriage of lights, isn't it? The word Kenya derives from the Luo phrase Keny, which means marriage. Keny. Kenya. The marriage of my lights. Then it's also based on the word Ken. K-E-N, which means Keni, which means inheritance. Then it is also based on the word Ke, which means dispersal, and that places Kenya as the root. Kenya, all these ethnicities in Africa, many of them will find their roots in Kenya. Ke. Then Nya, proliferation, the land from which the light and people proliferates. So Kenya is the land of the resurrection. Everything that was written in the Holy Bible will happen as it was written. The prophecies of the Holy Bible shall take place. There is a resurrection that is going on, and that resurrection, we are at the center of it because we are the people of light. Yes.
I have been producing Madaraka Festival for, this is the 10-year anniversary. The first 9 years we've held this event in the US. This year we are bringing it back to Kisumu, so that we can bring the diaspora back home, but also so that we can celebrate Omena, the culture of Omena, the people that need to benefit the most from Omena. And I wanted you to just share your perspectives. This event attracted 25,000 people last year across 8 cities in America. And so now it's the biggest East African music festival in the world. How do you feel about this happening in Kisumu this year, in December 14th?
Kisumu is slowly gaining reputation as the entertainment hub of Kenya. You will recall that in the last 2 years alone, we have had reggae artists like Richie Spice, who was here. Turbulence, I was very central to his being in Kenya, was around with him throughout. Now you have Madaraka Festival, and more will come. You also know that the people who are known for their musical prowess are those who come from along the water sources. Music and water go together. Because where there is music, there is vegetation. Where there is vegetation, there is sound. Where there is vegetation, there is trees. There is birds. So the place of music in our lives is sacrosanct. So this is the entertainment hub. I am really looking forward to hearing and even participating in that festival. I believe it will do very well. And it is probably hoped that it could be an annual event moving forward. Or an event that then can begin to redefine the image of Kisumu internationally, because a good home is a home where people visit.
True.
Where people can go and visit. That is what brings the warmth in the home. People who play music, you also realize that whenever people are playing music, it is very emotional. Many people are always smiling when they are dancing. Many people are always engrossed in their surface when they are dancing. Many people are exhilarated by music. What many people do not understand is that people do not dance to the music. Music triggers a spirit in you that raises you from your chair and makes you dance. And when that music stops, you suddenly, it's like you have been unplugged from the power source. You go back and sit. Music is spiritual. Yes.
That reminds me of what Fela Kuti said, that music, and this was a message to musicians and artists. He was saying, if you play with music, you will die young.
Yes.
Do you agree with that? If you're given the gift of music and you're able to play a music instrument or sing, if you use it for personal gain, if you use it for things that cannot change the world and humanity, he was saying that music will kill you.
Yes, Peter Tosh was deep, and he had his experiences to guide him, and he etched his name in the annals of global history by being one of the greatest musical icons of the world, singing a message of consciousness and liberation. He stands out, and his place in global history cannot be diluted. The people who sing the most, music and suffering go together. Whenever people are going to war, they have special songs they sing. When armies are going to war, they have special songs they sing. Even today, when you hear political parties, at one time here we had a song, "We Are Unborgable," which was supposed to motivate people towards the election. The other songs that have come up in Central Province today that have been banned, isn't it? That is an indicator of the power of music. Music is a spiritual force that can open or break any door. It can open the door. It has a key to the heart. And if you refuse, it can break the door. Yes, music is power. Yes.
Is there anything you want to share that I did not ask? We are coming close to the end of our conversation.
Yes.
I want to create space for you to just share a statement or a thought before I ask you 2 more questions to close us out.
Nothing specific. You can just go ahead. Maybe I'll find the muse in the questions that you will ask, the final questions. Yes.
Great. So one is I want you to reflect on 3, when you go to many events, as a speaker, as an attendee, but also as an organizer. When you attend any event or when you're producing any event, what are the 3 main things that you think about or that are most important to you when it comes to any event? The reason I'm asking is because I've been producing Madaraka Festival for 10 years, and many people have been asking me in the comments for the podcast, in person, how have you done this for 10 years? How did you do it in America? How come you can quickly do it back home, you know? And instead of me answering, I ask guests like you who have also done similar things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a broad question,
Yeah.
but nonetheless one that has answers, and many people would contextualize it differently.
True.
But I think the first thing about an event that is so big is why.
Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it?
Okay.
And then 2, for whom are you doing it?
For whom are you doing it?
For whom are you doing it?
Okay.
Then the next thing is, where are you doing it?
Okay.
And then the next question is, when are you doing it? Dates are very important.
Dates are so important.
Dates are very important because all these dates are reflections of light.
Yeah.
Monday is a special light.
Yeah.
Tuesday is a special light.
Yeah.
Wednesday is a special light.
Yeah.
Sabbath day is so special, the Bible instructs us to rest.
Yeah.
And Sunday is the beginning of a new light. The week begins.
Yeah.
So the date you do it is as important as the success of the event.
Wow.
Why this date? What else is happening around that date? Is there anything else happening that could overshadow or impact my event?
Yeah.
So the date is very important and needs very serious scrutiny.
Yeah.
2, like I said, that then of course the next thing is, how are you doing it? It's the usual thing is the one husband and 4 wives.
Yeah.
The one husband, which is the H.
Yeah.
How are you doing it?
Yeah.
Because the way you express yourself and the way you package yourself is also as important as the number of people, or as good as the number of people you will reach and impact upon. How are you packaging? What's the difference? How are you doing it? What's the uniqueness from other events? What's the cutting edge? What am I getting that I won't get tomorrow? I mean, what compels me to go there today? There must be something that compels me to go there on that day. So once you've done the how, then of course, then we've talked about the when. Then of course, we've talked about the where, the venue. The venue that you have chosen, you have looked round. Does it have adequate security? Does it have adequate ablution facilities? Is the sound system going to work well within that location? And on and on and on. So we've done when, where, and then what are you doing? What is this event all about? What are you speaking to? Who are you speaking to? What's the key message? What am I going to get? Am I going to do for awareness? Am I going to go around town and giving people a specific message that come and speak spiritual liberation on this day? So those are the things that I would ask. I would ask the 4 questions, the 4 W's. I'd answer the 4 W's and the 1 H.
I love that.
Yes.
So then, as we are closing, I want you to look at this camera.
Yes.
And let people who are watching know how they can stay in touch with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
To stay in touch with me on X page, my name is Enoch Ra. On Facebook, it's Enoch Ra. So you can reach me through there for any sessions or any questions about Africa and its languages. Like I told you yesterday, most of these names are Luo.
Right.
When I say Mediterranean, it derives from the Luo phrase Med-iter-ne-an. When I say Sino-China, Sino is a small uncultivated area within a wider cultivated area. Spiritually, China is a Sino. That is why, because it has the biggest number of people who do not worship the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, who is the God of light. That is why you find a lot of animism in China. So spiritually, it is a Sino. And the name China derives from the Luo phrase China, which means guide for me. Guide for me this spiritual Sino. Then the capital that represents the same context, Beijing. Beijing adier Sinoni. Are you strong enough? This spiritual vacuum. So all these things derive from one language because, like I said, we are the source. So if anybody needs any further explanations or the names of their ethnic groups, the names of their clans and what they mean, the names of your city and what they mean, the only language that can translate them all, or most of them, or 98, 100% in the world, is the language that you speak here, the language of light. Yes.
I love it.
Thank you.
Now look at the same camera and invite people to attend Madaraka Festival
Yes.
on December 14th.
Yes.
And tell them why it's important.
Brothers and sisters, people have always asked, if you do not praise your mother's cooking, who will? On December 14th, you have a menu. You have before you a platter of music that will be brought to you in Kisumu town like never seen before. A special dish comes once. A special dish is not every day. A special dress is worn on special occasions. Wear that special African dress of yours and come and listen to the greatest musical cuisine ever put together in Kisumu town since the beginning. God bless you and see you there, all of you.